Hey everyone, welcome back to Ratty Tutorials. In this second part of the blinking LED series, we're going to be going over 5 different colored LEDs plugged into an array and how to make them work, and then different uses you could use this for future projects and how you can implement it. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump into the code. You can download this code. I'll attach a link to it, but it's under my GitLabs. So you can go to gitlab.rattytutorials.com, just like that, and you'll see all of my projects, blinking LED, and we're going to be working in the 5 color array working code right here. That's what I've got, but I'll put a link to it in the video. So right off the bat, we're going to redefine a couple terms right here. So you can use define right here, and I'm going to say anytime I type in the string LED off, that is going to be the same thing as if I wrote hi there. And so you'll see later on when I do digital write, I'll show you what that means. But then for my LED pins, so right here I made this a constant byte, and I have 5 LEDs, and then in the code, in these brackets right here, I'm going to put the pin numbers on your Arduino. So on your Arduino, pick 5 pins that you want to plug your LEDs into, and then put those pin numbers right here. So see how I'm using 0, 1, 3, 4, 5. I skipped the second pin because I'm using that for something else. Then I'm going to make a function that's going to blink my LED for me. So in this function, I'm going to have an input, and it's going to be color. uint8_t is essentially the same thing as saying byte. It's the same amount of memory space. And then I'm going to do an unsigned integer milliseconds. So I'm going to do digital write LEDs color. So what's going to happen right here is I'm going to go into this array, and I'm going to input the number of whatever color I want to do in there, and then I'm going to turn the LED on, and then I'm going to wait for how many milliseconds I decided, and then I'm going to turn the LED off and then wait again. So that will essentially blink an LED. Now if I come down here to this other function called cycle LED, this is cycling through all of the LEDs in this array up here and blinking them at a rate of 50 milliseconds, so very quickly. And we're going to see that as an example here in a minute. So let's just go through this for loop right here. I have a for loop, and I'm saying uint_ti. I is greater than the size of the LEDs. So this number will come out to be 5 right here. So it's going to look at that array. It says I have 5 LEDs. Okay, only go through this for loop 5 iterations. And so I'm going to blink LEDs 5 different times going through that array. Now for actually setting up the code, I'm going to set it up, and then the same kind of for loop, exact same for loop, but this time I'm going to do pin mode LED, and then it's going to be an output. And then I'm going to go ahead and default all of the LEDs to the off state by just doing a digital write to off. That's just safety precaution to make sure they're off. Then I'm going to wait half a second and begin my main code. So in my main code, this is a very simple example, but I'm going to blink LED. I'm going to blink the third one right here for 300 milliseconds. Then I'm going to blink the 0th LED that I have in that array, which will be connected to pin 0 on the Arduino. And I'm going to blink that for twice as long as the one before. And then I'm going to go through my function, the cycle LED. So if you have any questions about any of this code right here, some of it can be very confusing, please post them in the comments below, and I will be more than happy to answer that. Let's jump over to the calculator and figure out why I chose the resistors I did to match up with the color of the LED. So if you saw my previous video, the blinking LED basics, you would be familiar with this chart right here. But let me just go down the line. The colors of the LEDs again are white, red, yellow, green, and blue. I'm not using orange here. But then I started to plug in the resistors that I had laying around my lab and inputted them over here. So white is going to be 12 milliamps. That's pretty bright. Blue is just going to be 3 milliamps. It should be dim. Green is going to be around 6. Yellow around 8 or 9. And then red's going to be around 15 milliamps. So that's going to be pretty bright. I should probably change that resistor out, but we're going to stick with it for now. So let's go ahead over to the breadboard and actually plug all of this in. Here's the configuration. I already kind of plugged everything in, but if you saw my previous video about how to plug in these LEDs correctly, then it's pretty straightforward. But we'll just go through and show you what I did right here. So I've got ground and power running across my breadboard right here, so I'm connecting this vertical red strip right here with this vertical red strip up here, so that my breadboard is just easier to use that way. So let's go ahead and plug in my jumper wires. I've got ground going into the Arduino, and then red going into my 5 volts on the Arduino. And then from there I can plug in anywhere over here. So we're going to do ground going into the blue, red going into red. And then I've got all of my resistors going from high 5 volts through the anode. On the other side is the cathode going to ground, which will be the logic pins. So in the Arduino code, I changed those defines LED on and LED off to be of a different high and low, and that's based off of whenever I turn this pin on right now, or whenever I turn this pin to ground, which would be low, it's going to turn the LED on. So when I do digital write low, it's going to say this pin is going to be turned on, and when I do digitally write high, this pin is going to be turned off. So it's kind of reversing the way that you do things, and there's different reasons for doing that. Alright, so let's plug it in. So blue is going to go to pin 0 on the Arduino. Green is going to go to pin 1. And remember how I skipped pin 2 in the code. So we'll just continue down the line, yellow, red, and white, going into the next 3 pins, starting at 3, 4, and 5. And we're skipping 2 altogether. So pretty straightforward, nothing too complicated. But now we have control over 5 different color LEDs, and you can use this for many different projects. But let's go ahead and get the code running to show you what it looks like. Alright, so remember in the code how I said the 4th LED is going to turn on, blink for 300 milliseconds, and then the 0th position will blink at 600, and then it's going to cycle through all of them really quickly. Let's see what happens. 4th, 0, cycle. Look at that. Alright, so that is a quick example for how you can easily manipulate 5 different color LEDs and implement this into your project. So in my next video, I'm going to make the code much more structured and easier to implement into future projects. But just think about all the different ways that you can use these 5 color LEDs. So you can say, oh, blink this LED when my motor's turning, blink this one whenever a sensor detects something close using sonar or something like that. But you can use different color LEDs for many different things. So I hope you found this tutorial helpful, but if you had any questions because something wasn't explained quite right, then please comment in the video below and I will be able to get back with you very soon. Also, if you have any ideas for future projects using LEDs or motors or anything, comment those below and it'll give me an idea for the next video series that I'll be coming out with.